Why don't we get started? Everybody ready? Okay, so here on the website, this is my personal website, as you know. So you can go here to the main homepage. You can click on Learning Adventures, and the Learning Adventures will show up here. And if you scroll down to Silk Road, that'll be the learning adventure for today. And I should make a note, you guys, that there's actually 2 pages. For this, we have Silk Road Part 1 and Part 2. Today mostly focuses on Part 1, but Part 2 is important, and there's some good maps there you can use today. So Part 2 is actually, what's this country? Pakistan, right? So remember, Pakistan is part of the Silk Road, especially for the search for Buddhism, to go to India. And I have the photos separated to the 2 journeys that I did on the Silk Road. But right now, what I would like to do is just refresh your memory here about the Silk Road lecture handouts. So you can view and download the topics that we'll use for today's class. And they're here. So I've already opened them. The first one is Silk Road maps. So you can use this as we fill in our map on the whiteboard. Secondly, these are the spots visited by, you remember him? You remember the monk from the movie? Shenzong, right. And this is the actual statue that's in Xi'an in China. Okay? And next is a short presentation for 4 outstanding European explorers. We'll talk about all this in time. Right now, I just want to introduce the resources for everybody, right? And here is a short list of the place names that we talked about. So you have this copy. Everybody has 1 copy for each group, right? Okay, next. These are our class objectives and some of the things we'll do. So our objectives include developing and expressing your own ideas about the Silk Road. So I really want to hear what you have to say as well as you look at the material and as we have our contest. Our learning activity is that each of us today are going to make our own Silk Road map. So as we build the map on the board here, you'll build your own map at your desk. When we finish, this map should be totally full, All right? So that's where the resources are. It's okay while we're having class today, while I'm talking, while we're playing the game, for you to scroll through the different photos. The first set of photos are from 1995. Was anybody born before 1995? Right. Okay, so I guess that makes the teacher old. My first trip on the Silk Road was 1995, and at that time it was not developed, right? China was still sort of closed, and it was a very rough trip, mostly by bus. Old bus across China. Today they have a high-speed train. Yeah, and nice hotel. Most of our hotels were only have a 1-star in those days, yeah. So there's some nice photos that take you across the journey. And when you click on the photos, they'll open. A little bit higher resolution and full frame, okay? So it's okay if you want to look on your smartphone, tablet, laptop computer, the technology, okay? And so that's part 1. And I'm going to come back to these photos as we put the names and the places on the board. I'll come back and share some photos with you. As you scroll down through the maps and the different video resources, you'll see the second journey of the Silk Road. That my personal journey. The second one was 2001. And this one is all the way to India. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to go basically from Beijing to Xi'an, and then up the journey all the way to India and talk about things. More or less following the route of Shenzong the monk, who I know that you guys know about from our movie. Okay, So there's quite a few different nice photos here too as well, okay? All right, and back to the resources. So here again are all the student resources, okay? This is a very nice map from 1933. Do you know that Xinjiang used to be called Chinese Turkestan in history? Because the Muslim religion and there's many Turkish people that live in the west of China. So this map is basically showing the heart of Western China, which is really the focus of the Silk Road. It's about this journey across the desert. And you might remember that from our movie. How are you guys doing? Are you ready for our teamwork? Everyone knows your group? So we have 7 groups, right? So every time you get an answer right, I'll have you come and put your answer on the board, and you use the sheet if you need to get your spelling right. And then you can give yourself a point. So there's 7 groups. I think we just have 7. Okay, first thing, let's start with physical geography, and let's start with the big topics, okay, to help to define our map and make our map clear, and then we'll go to the small details after. Okay, number 1, what's up here above China? There's a country, there's a region that's really important to the north of China. Mongolia, ice? Mongolia, okay? You can put it here. So 1 point for Mongolia. You remember Genghis Khan and Kublai Khan? They almost conquered the whole world. So this is Mongolia, and we can kind of do something like this. You can just kind of go like that and say that's Mongolia, okay? Okay, now the second place, get ready. The second place is here. What's this? Ah, okay. How do you say Tibet in Chinese? Xizang, right? Yep, Tibet. Excellent. Nice writing. Okay. So we've got 1 point for group 1 and 1 point for group 2. Next question. This is an easy one, okay? What is the highest mountain in the world?
Everest.
You said first or you said first? Okay, Everest. And where is Everest? Everest is here? Here? Tibet? Up here? You know how you can remember? Tibet, Mount Everest makes the border between China and Nepal. You can think of India. It makes the border. So, and it's actually on this side. Yep. And Everest is part of what mountains? There's a range of mountains. On one side is, you guys are too good. Guys, Mount Everest is part of what mountain range? I'll just put it. So you got your 1 point from that. So we can do this. If you follow on your map now, you can draw the mountain range, right? Himalaya or Himalayas. I got a hard one for you. Can anyone tell me what Mount Everest is in Tibetan language? Yeah, that's exactly right. So I have a story here. Some of you may know or remember. This photograph was on the cover of a magazine. I took this picture in 2001. I climbed to 20,000 feet on Mount Everest in 2001 on the north face of Everest. That's the Chinese side. Here's the name, Chomolangma. What does it mean? Well, it actually means snow goddess. In the magazine article that I wrote for this, being from Hawaii, we have a mountain called Mauna Kea, and it has a snow goddess, Poliahu. So I wrote my story about the highest mountains and the snow goddesses. This is a Jansatik at Mount Everest. Much younger than. Okay, that's right. Okay, I won't write Chomolangma just to get the idea. All of these place names, of course, Tibetan language, they have much older names. Everest was a British explorer. Before we move, and we want to get to our key topic, which is Silk Road, but we have to know the geography, right? So let's finish our physical geography, and then we'll move to the cultural geography and the historical geography a little bit more. As you know, I love this subject because I have the personal experience, so it's always. So I drew Everest taller than the others because it's the tallest, right? What is the second tallest, and where is it? In the world, in the whole world. The actual peak, the actual mountain. So the whole range is, you know what you're thinking? Because in Chinese, they say Himalaya Shan, that mountain, the one. Oh, no, you got it. Okay, come. Okay, for one bonus point, where is K2? What does K2 stand for? Right, Karakoram. So there's actually a mountain range that goes like this. It's not quite the same range. It goes like Karakoram range. In Turkish language, it means black rocks. It means the black rocks. And K2 is Karakoram 2, meaning second highest mountain in the world. K2, Karakoram 2. The rocks really are black. In 2001, I crossed the Karakoram range on my journey to Pakistan from China, and through the high mountains. And it is, you see it in the distance, it's mysterious. It feels, it's dark, dark rocks, right? Karakoram. Very, very good. Okay, let's keep moving. Go to the next mountain range. I'm going to draw the mountain range here. Get ready, if you know the answer, what is this mountain range? Shama? Right. But keep that in your mind. You might get the next point.
Okay. Next point, okay.
What's this mountain? It cuts off the north part of Xinjiang. I think T-I-A-N or T-I-E-N, depending how you want to spell it. Tian, heaven, right? Heavenly mountains. Okay, you guys, your maps look great. Yeah. Okay, in your group, one again. 3 points. So Tian mountains. Okay, this mountain range. I think somebody over here, though, you're right, and she was right before too.
Yeah.
I told you you were right. Who said over here? You. Okay, before we continue, let me show you a couple of photos real quick, okay? Just for fun, kind of get the feeling, right? So this is Tianshan Mountains. I took this photo from an airplane in 1995, looking down. That's why it looks so. So this is the Tianshan mountain range. So we have enough here to start to make a key point. Basically, when we talk about the geography of Silk Road, it has the highest mountains in the world, right? So we know that the Himalayas are the highest range, and they have the highest mountain, Everest. The Karakoram, and it has K2, the world's second highest mountain, right? And we don't really have room to draw it, but we can a little bit. There's another one here. This one I'll just write, okay? And we'll continue our game in a minute, just to keep moving. Hindu Kush. It's the mountain range that goes into Afghanistan. This is the world's third highest mountain range. And the fourth highest range is Tian Shan. So when you think about the Silk Road, one key point I want to make is the mountains, the highest mountains in the world, right? And to kind of jump ahead, just to get the idea. In the middle here, there's a desert, Taklimakan Desert and the Gobi Desert. And this area is actually one of the lowest basins, lowest places in the whole earth. In this area, there's one part of the basin called Turpan Basin. And it's actually, I think, around 200 meters or more below the sea level. The point of it that I want to make is, you have to think, it's a great desert that's lower than the ocean, surrounded by the world's highest mountains. So if you travel the Silk Road, think about Xuanzang, the monk in Tang Dynasty who walked to India across China on the Silk Road, for example, right? And think of how, that's one reason why this story lives so strongly in the mind of the Chinese. You see, once you can feel the geography, the physical geography, then you can put the cultural geography on top. And I want to show you quickly one more photo on the Pakistan page that will help to tie it together for you. This is the page from my research in Pakistan, and you're welcome to look at it if you like on your phone or now or later. This is the Silk Road. I just want to show you this photo right here. This photo is so special for many reasons. These are the three highest mountain ranges in the world: Himalaya, Karakoram, and Hindu Kush. I took this photo looking north. So I'm standing here, I'm standing there. I took this photo to the north. So this is where the Himalaya mountains end. It's the end of the Himalayas, right here. And you see the dark mountains in the back? That's Karakoram. Remember Karakoram, dark mountains. And this are the Hindu Kush, which goes to Afghanistan. How about the rivers? So there's a river coming from here, and there's a river coming from here. And at this point, the rivers converge. They meet here. Okay, for double points, 2 points. What's the name of that river? It's so important in history. Comes from Tibet? Yes! Indus, that gave its name to India, right? Where we get the name India from. We get 2 points. Group is catching up to group 1. Yep, and put your points. So the Indus River actually comes like this. Comes from behind the Himalayas and around K2 and comes down. So in myself, in my life, that was the first time I saw Indus with my own eyes. I was just like, wow. Feels so great in the high mountains. As the river continues into Pakistan, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It meets the 5 rivers of the Punjab and it turns into a monster river. But at this time, it doesn't look so big in the high mountains. This is the Kashmir area. Okay, get ready. Let's do a couple of countries before we start actually traveling on the Silk Road through China. Let's know what, this is political geography. What are the names of the countries around China that are historically connected to the Silk Road? We'll use red for this. And notice that I put these little green dots, all except for the Indus River. I put these little green dots to separate the countries. Okay. Let's start with what's up here. If we go way up here, it's Russia. Okay, I'll just tell you. But what country is here? You use your maps. Look at your maps. Remember? Huh? Kazakhstan. Right. Got it. Did you? Don't worry, you guys got A anyways. Kazakhstan, right. Can you spell it right? Here you have your sheet. Some of these words are hard to spell, huh? Kazakhstan, right. Okay, what's the next one right below it? What's here? And you get 1 point if you get the name right, and you get 1 point if you can spell it right without looking at your notes. Okay, come on up. I think best pronounced Kyrgyzstan, right? Kyrgyzstan. This one is Tajikistan. It's actually yeah, yeah, because she said it. She had it right. She said Kyrgyzstan. One point I want to make about this is that I wrote it down to make sure we spell it right. Kyrgyzstan. Guys, she forgot the Z. Should we still give her the point?
Yes.
There's a Z there. Kyrgyzstan. Okay. So I'll just use it. Okay. All right, she's just going to add the one then. So now we know Tajikistan. If you ever have the chance to be here in Western China, to Kashgar, okay, get ready for the next one, okay? So I took this photo from here, the town of Kashgar, the kind of the end of China, you know, the western end of China. Now, what the point I want to make and why I show the photo is, so you have Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan. What's this one in the middle? She raised her hand before you guys. Afghanistan. She did. She was like. This little strip. So the Afghanistan is called the Wakhan Corridor. It's in geography. It's a really interesting place. It's a thin little strip of land. Okay, great. So in your mind, why so many countries are here at the exit point of Western China? Why do you think? Well, right, it's important, right? I mean, if you think about for thousands of years since Han Dynasty, 200 years before Christ, This was the economic heart of China, the trade of silks and materials out of China, right? And at some point, the introduction, of course, of Buddhism. We'll get to all this later in the cultural geography. But if you look, all these countries, they all kind of, so the trade that went on here into these countries. The reason I showed this photo is, I know from experience because of my travels here, this man is Uzbek. Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan is right over here. Doesn't touch China, but Uzbekistan is there. He's Uzbek, and I can tell by his face, he's Tajik, Tajikistan. Many Tajiks live in Kashgar. There's a region here where all these mountains touch called Tashgurgan. It's part of China, and that is the land of the Tajiks. This man is Uyghur. Uyghur. In Chinese say Uyghur. Uyghur. Uyghurs. The Islamic culture today that's in much of the West, number one is the Uyghurs. Number one. We'll get to this in a minute. All I'm doing is just trying to kind of connect the physical geography to the cultural, and then we'll get into all of the details, okay? I just wanted you to kind of see that and have the feeling. Okay, what's next? What country is very important border country with China? Big in the news right now too with things. South of Afghanistan border. I think she was fastest again. You're good, yeah. You get to. Guys, you gotta. You can put it right. So the Indus River, when it comes down from Tibet, it enters into Pakistan. That's a subject for another class that we'll have about the Indus River Valley civilization. Most of us, when we think of Buddhism, you think of India, right? But really, the cultural soul of Buddhism today is called Pakistan, but of course today it's an Islamic country. But there was great empire, great Buddhist empire. I think we talked about this before, right? It kind of, an outcome was Mahayana, right? Mahayana Buddhism as the Indian Buddhism mixed with the Greek philosophy, Greek art, and the outcome is Mahayana, right? Mahayana Buddhism. But all that took place. So, what's next to Pakistan?
India.
You're actually okay to say India. What were you going to say?
Nepal. In India.
Okay.
It's more like.
Yeah, okay, you got it. Okay, so group one will give you guys 1 point, and you can put, I'll do this for you this time, okay, just because I want to make a point. So India, but also Kashmir. So it's actually here, so Kashmir. So Kashmir is always a place of turmoil, right? Between is Kashmir India? Is it Pakistan? It's occupied by Pakistan, but Indians say it's their territory, stuff like that, right? And in the back, what's your group? You guys are group 7, right? So group 7 is right. That Nepal is here. Okay, let's move on to the Silk Road itself, okay?